So earlier this year, Kailh announced the Box White V2 switches, and when I heard the news about them on sale, I immediately bought a jar of 90 switches, along with some other switches which I'm planning to review, so stick around for that. And it took them roughly a month to arrive, and when I tested these switches and used them for a few days, I was really surprised by it. Clicky gang! Hey everyone, this is Elastico, and today we'll be checking out this all-in improved Box White V2 switches from Kailh. And we're mostly gonna compare it to the original Box White V1 switches. So let's go check them out. So we all know that the original Box White is a massive improvement from Cherry MX Blue switches. The pitch is much lower, and there are no more rattly noise when typing on the switches. On the Box Whites, you hear 2 ticks per press, one from the downstroke and the other on the upstroke. This is because it uses a click bar rather than a click jacket like you see from some other clicky switches out there. I got these switches from CostFox, and when you use the code FLUFFY10 on the checkout, you will get a $10 off when you purchase anything from them with orders over $60. So links in the description below for both of their store and their Discord server. So let's check out the specification of these Box White V2 switches. So the Box White's V2 switches is a bit lighter than from the originals, being at 45 gram operating force compared to the original at 50 grams. Though, when I use these switches, they don't accidentally actuate for me unlike the Box White V1 switches. This is mainly because the V2 switches now uses a golden long spring, so the springs is already tense, making it a bit heavier in the beginning of the press than on the normal springs from the V1s. The V2 uses a nylon material on the bottom housing, which gives a talkier sound signature compared from the originals, which uses a PA66, which I look it up on the internet, is also a nylon plastic. I'm assuming that they're using different types of nylon plastics, so let me know in the comments below if that's the case. Bottom housing is also black now compared from the V1s, which their bottom housing is white. The only similarities to this is the actuation distance, being at 1.8mm, and the total travel distance is at 3.6mm, which is very usable for gaming and for general use. It also uses the same material for the top housing, which is a polycarbonate plastic. Just that the V2 has that black tint, whereas the original is clear. They also uses the same stem material as well, which is POM. The V2 is now a 5-pin switch compared to the V1 that uses only 3-pin, so the switch is now more stable and it's compatible now with plateless builds. Since I already covered the differences between the Box White V1 and V2 switches, let's go ahead and check out the sound differences between the Box White V2s and the Box White V1s. So here's the sound test. As you guys can tell, there is a massive improvement between these Box White V2 switches compared from the originals. In terms of feel, I removed the click bars from both of these switches so I can determine which one is smoother, and the V2 is significantly smoother. When I listened to it closely, I didn't hear any scratchiness from the V2 compared from the V1, so you don't really need to lube the switches in my opinion. Though, do keep in mind that their lubing application for the springs can be a bit inconsistent, so you might need to lube the springs at least to get rid of the spring ping. Now let's see how good they are for gaming. I've been using the switches when playing Eterna and Usumania, and it's very usable. The weighting and long spring didn't really affect my gameplay. I kinda prefer progressive spring more when playing rhythm games, but I already get used to long springs since my main switch when playing rhythm games is a super speed bronze switch from Kailh, which also uses a long spring. Just that those are a bit lighter than Box White V2s, being at 38 gram operating force with 1.1mm actuation distance. If you want to see me reviewing those switches fully, then let me know in the comments below and I'm more than happy to make a video out of them. When it comes to typing and general use, I much prefer the long springs from these switches over the originals. I personally like the switches around the 65 to 75 gram weighting, but this one for some reason doesn't actuate for being too light, probably because of the long springs, which I really like. And for people who thinks that this switches is a bit too heavy for them because I said that a 50 gram long spring is perfect for me because I like 65 to 75 gram weighting, I don't think you guys will find these switches to be too heavy in my opinion. It will feel a bit heavy in the beginning, but the bottom out press will feel the same like from any other types of spring with the same weighting. So, what do I think of these switches? Well, if I have to be honest, I think this will be like my new favorite clicky switches I tried so far. And that says a lot from a person who ranks nearly a couple dozen different clicky switches. I would definitely place this on my S tier, and it will definitely be my new main switch because of how much better the sound profile is to me. The feel is much smoother, and the lighter spring doesn't make me actuate accidentally for being too light. And for 35 cents a switch, it's a really good bargain. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who is looking for a really good clicky switches. And that's it for the video. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you guys find this video helpful or entertaining. Leave a dislike if you guys find it not really entertaining or like that useful for you guys, because even though YouTube hidden the dislike counter, I will still see it through my dashboard. If you have any comments or any questions, leave a comment down below this channel and I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, so to end this video off, here's the bit of a sound test of this Keychron Q1 with polycarbonate plate and with AKKO, Keycaps, and Box White V2 switches. And as always, thanks for watching.